Chapter 11b, taking in everything the nest of the Missel Thrush. For 2 or 3 minutes he stood looking round him while Mary watched. Then he began to walk about softly, even more lightly than Mary had when she first found herself inside the 4 walls. His eyes seemed to take in everything, the grey trees with grey creepers climbing over them and hanging from their branches, the tangle on the walls and among the grass, the evergreen alcoves with stone seats and tall flower urns standing in them. "I never thought I'd see this place," he said at last, in a whisper. "Did you know about it?" asked Mary. She had spoken aloud, and he made a sign to her. "We must talk low," he said, "or someone will hear us and wonder what's going on in here." "Oh, I forgot," said Mary, feeling frightened and putting her hand quickly against her mouth. "Did you know about the garden?" she asked again when she had recovered herself. Dickon nodded. "Martha told me there was one that no one ever went inside," he answered. "We used to wonder what it was like." He stopped and looked round at the lovely grey tangle about him, and his round eyes looked queerly happy. "The nests that will be here come springtime," he said. "It would be the safest nesting place in England. No one ever coming near, and tangles of trees and roses to build in. I wonder all the birds on the moor don't build here." Mistress Mary put her hand on his arm again without knowing it. "Will there be roses?" she whispered. "Can you tell? I thought perhaps they were all dead, eh?" "No, not them, not all of them," he answered. "Look here." He stepped over to the nearest tree, an old one with grey lichen all over its bark, but holding up a curtain of tangled sprays and branches. He took a thick knife out of his pocket and opened one of its blades. "There's lots of dead wood that ought to be cut out," he said, "and there's a lot of old wood, but it made some new last year. This here's a new bit," and he touched a shoot which looked brownish green instead of hard, dry grey. He continued to walk from one bush to another, examining them with his clever, kind eyes. He showed Mary things she had never seen before. "There's a lot of good wood in that one," he would say, "and that one's got a lot of live stuff in it. If we cut away the old dead bits, there will be a rare lot of roses come spring." It was a fascinating and exciting afternoon. Mary felt as if she had been shown a new world. To learn more about Mary and Dickon's journey. Ever felt like you've stumbled upon a hidden treasure, a secret world just for you? That's exactly what happened to a little girl named Mary. She found a secret garden locked away and forgotten. But was it truly dead? She wasn't alone in her quest to find out. With her was Dickon, a boy who seemed to speak the language of nature itself. Mary pointed to a branch, her voice a hopeful whisper. "Is that one alive? Is it really?" Dickon smiled, a wide, knowing grin. "It's as wick as you or me," he said. And Mary remembered wick meant alive, full of life. "I'm glad it's wick," she cried. "Let's count how many wick ones there are." Their excitement was contagious. They moved from bush to bush, Dickon with his trusty knife in hand, revealing one wonder after another. "They've run wild," he explained, "but the strongest ones have thrived. The delicate ones are gone." but the others have grown and spread like crazy. He pulled down a thick, grey, dry-looking branch. You might think this is dead wood, but I bet it's not. I'll cut it low and see. He knelt and sliced through the branch near the ground. There, he said with a triumphant look, I told you, there's green in that wood yet. Look, Mary was already on her knees, gazing in awe. When it looks a bit greenish and juicy like that, it's Dickon taught her. If the inside is dry and breaks easy, it's done for. He pointed to a massive root system. If we cut away the old wood and take care of it, this summer, this will be a fountain of roses. Dickon was a master with his knife, expertly clearing away the dead wood, always finding the flicker of green life in the most unpromising twigs. Soon, Mary learned to spot it too. Every time he made a cut and she saw that hint of moist green, a joyful gasp would escape her. They worked with spades and forks, digging around the roots, letting the air into the soil. As they were carefully tending to a huge rose bush, Dickon suddenly stopped, his eyes wide with surprise. What did he see? What new secret was the garden about to reveal? Why? He cried, pointing to the grass a few feet away. Who did that there? It was one of Mary's own little clearings round the pale green points. I did it, said Mary. Why, I thought that didn't know nothing about gardening, he exclaimed. I don't, she answered, but they were so little and the grass was so thick and strong, and they looked as if they had no room to breathe. So I made a place for them. I don't even know what they are. Dickon went and knelt down by them, smiling his wide smile. Hey, that was right, he said. A gardener couldn't have told the better. They'll grow now like Jack's beanstalk. Their crocuses are snowdrops. And these here is narcissuses, turning to another patch. And here's daffodil hills. They will be a sight. He ran from one clearing to another. That has done a lot o' work for such a little wench, he said, looking her over. I'm growing fatter, said Mary, and I'm growing stronger. I used always to be tired. When I dig, I'm not tired at all. I like to smell the earth when it's turned up. It's rare good for thee, he said, nodding his head wisely. There's naught as nice as the smell o' good, clean earth. Except the smell o' fresh, growing things when the rain falls on AM. I get out on the moor many a day when it's raining and I lie under a bush and listen to the soft swish o' drops on the heather and I just sniff and sniff. My nose end fair quivers like a rabbit's, Mother says. Do you never catch cold? Inquired Mary, gazing at him wonderingly. She had never seen such a funny boy or such a nice one. Not me, he said, grinning. I never catches cold since I was born. I wasn't brought up nesh enough. I've chased about the moor in all weathers same as the rabbits does. Mother says I've sniffed up too much fresh air for 12 years to ever get to sniffing with cold. I'm as tough as a white thorn knobstick. There's a lot of work to do here, he said once, looking about quite exultantly. Will you come again and help me to do it? Mary begged. I'm sure I can help too. I can dig and pull up weeds and do whatever you tell me. "Oh, do come, Dickon. I'll come every day if that wants me, rain or shine," he answered stoutly. "It est the best fun I ever had in my life, shut in here and wakening up a garden." "If you will come," said Mary, "if you will help me to make it alive, I do know what I'll do," she ended helplessly. "What could you do for a boy like that?" "I'll tell thee what that'll do," said Dickon with his happy grin. "That I'll get fat, and that I'll get as hungry as a young fox, and that I'll learn how to talk to the robin same as I do, and we'll have a lot o' fun." He began to walk about, looking up in the trees and at the walls and bushes with a thoughtful expression. "I wouldn't want to make it look like a garden error's garden, all clipped and spick and span, would you?" he said. "It's nicer like this, with things running wild, and swinging and catching hold of each other. Don't let us make it tidy," said Mary anxiously. "It wouldn't seem like a secret garden if it was tidy." Dickon stood rubbing his rusty red head with a rather puzzled look. "It's a secret garden, sure enough," he said, "but seems like someone. Besides, the robin must have been in it, since it was shut up 10 years ago. But the door was locked, and the key was burr-eyed," said Mary. "No one could get in." "That's true," he answered. "It's a queer place. Seems to me as if there'd been a bit o' pruning done here and there later than 10 years ago. But how could it have been done?" said Mary. He was examining a branch of a standard rose, and he shook his head. How could it?" he murmured, "with the door locked and the key buried?" Mistress Mary always felt that however many years she lived, she should never forget that first morning when her garden began to grow. Of course, it did seem to begin to grow for her that morning. When Dickon began to clear places to plant seeds, she remembered what Basil had sung at her when he wanted to tease her. "Are there any flowers that look like bells?" she inquired. "Lilies o' the valley does," he answered, digging away with the trowel, "and there's Canterbury bells and campanulas." "Let us plant some," said Mary. "There's lilies o' the valley here already. I saw they'll have growled too close, Anne. We'll have to separate but there's plenty. The other ones takes 2 years to bloom from seed, but I can bring you some bits o' plants from our cottage garden. Why does that want Then Mary told him about Basil and his broth heirs and sisters in India, and of how she had hated them, and of their calling her Mistress Mary quite contrary. They used to dance round and sing at me. They sang Mistress Mary quite contrary, "How does your garden grow?" with silver bells and cockle shells and marigolds all in a row. One just remembered it, and it made me wonder if there were really flowers like silver bells. She frowned a little and gave her trowel a rather spiteful dig into the earth. I wasn't as contrary as they were, but Dickon laughed. "A1," he said, and as he crumbled the rich black soil, she saw he was sniffing up the scent of their does, and seemed to be no need for no one to be contrary when there flowers and such like, and such lots of friendly wild things running about making homes for themselves, or building nests and singing and whistling. Does there? Mary, kneeling by him holding the seeds, looked at him and stopped frowning. "Dickon," she said, "you are as nice as Martha said you were. I like you, and you make the 5th person." I never thought I should like 5 people. Dickon sat up on his heels, as Martha did when she was polishing the grate. He did look funny and delightful, Mary thought, with his round blue eyes and red cheeks and happy-looking turned-up nose. Only 5 folks as that likes, he said. Who is the other 4? Your mother and Martha. Mary checked them off on her fingers. And the Robin and Ben Weatherstaff. Dickon laughed, so that he was obliged to stifle the sound by putting his arm over his mouth. I know that thinks I'm a queer lad, he said, but I think that art the queerest little lass I ever saw. Then Mary did a strange thing. She leaned forward and asked him a question she had never dreamed of asking anyone before, and she tried to ask it in Yorkshire because that was his language. And in India, a native was always pleased if you knew his speech. Does that like me? She said. He answered heartily, that I do. I likes the wonderful Anne, so does the Robin, I do believe. That's 2 then, said Mary. That's 2 for me. And then they began to work harder than ever and more joyfully. Mary was startled and sorry when she heard the big clock in the courtyard strike the hour of her midday dinner. I shall have to go, she said mournfully. And you will have to go too, won't you? Dickon grinned, said. My dinner's easy to carry about with me. Mother always lets me put a bit, something in my pocket. He picked up his coat from the grass and Chief brought out of a pocket a lumpy little bundle tied up in a quiet, clean, coarse blue and white handcar. It held 2 thick pieces of bread with 3 slices of something laid between them. It's oftenest naught but bread, he said, but I've got a fine slice o' fat bacon with it today. Mary thought it looked a queer dinner, but he seemed ready to enjoy it. Run on and get thy victuals, he said. I'll be done with mine first. I'll get some more work done before I start back home. He sat down with his back against a tree. I'll call the Robin up, he said, and give him the rind o' the bacon to peck at. They like a bit o' fat wonderful. Mary could scarcely bear to leave him. Suddenly it seemed as if he might be a sort of wood fairy who might be gone when she came into the garden again. He seemed too good to be true. She went slowly halfway to the door in the wall, and then she stopped and went back. Whatever happens, you never would tell, she said. His poppy-colored cheeks were distended with his first big bite of bread and bacon, but he managed to smile encouragingly. If that was a Missel Thrush Anne showed me where thy nest was, does that think I'd tell anyone? Not me, he said. That art as safe as a Missel Thrush, and she was quite sure she was.